What's up, YouTube? I'm back again, and I got my dog Maui here. What up, Mal? Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you. So, have you ever wondered why Goofy is a dog? Yes, Goofy's a dog. If you don't know that, then watch my previous video where I basically tell you that Goofy is a dog. So, if you ever wonder why Goofy's a dog, he can walk and talk and dance and sing all day. But Pluto, on the other hand, is a dog, and all he can do is bark. And that Pluto is Mickey's pet, but Goofy's his friend. This is going to be one crazy discussion video that I don't even know if I'll be able to answer, but we're going to try in the best logical way. And here goes. Goofy's dog character wasn't necessarily designed to be friends with Mickey when Pluto was created to be Mickey's pet dog. It was kind of different timelines, different characters, different shows, different shorts, all getting mixed together as one. And that's what was created as the Big Five, which is Mickey, Goofy, Donald, Minnie, and Daisy. They just kind of merged and became this fabulous face of Disney, and the Fab Five just kind of created, and it was just there. Actually, I believe Pluto is Mickey, Goofy. It doesn't matter. Anyway, these worlds just collide. These different shorts, different characters, had their own stories, had their own timelines, had their own backstories, and all different schemes. And Goofy had just his cartoons of him doing goofy stuff, hence the name Goofy. Mickey had his own stuff doing this, and Pluto had even his own little cartoons. And a lot of times Mickey had the pet Pluto, and Goofy wasn't even anywhere around. And eventually just kind of merged together and just became this whole big mess of a story. And then it confused everybody, including myself, on why Goofy is a walking, talking dog and Pluto is not. So here we go. We're going to try to figure this out together. So, Goofy is known as an anthropomorphic dog. Meaning, anthropomorphic is the definition of relating to or characterized by anthropomorphism, having human characteristics. So Goofy's intention of a character was to create a human-like dog. Hence, Goofy can walk, talk, sing, dance, do whatever a human does. Pluto was designed as an actual dog. Same thing as Minnie's cat. Minnie has a pet cat. They also know other cats in Disney, as in Pete. That's the last video as well. Now, Minnie's cat, Mickey's dog, both not anthropomorphic because they weren't designed that way. Goofy was designed as the anthropomorphic character, so therefore the design elements just aren't there. So the intent to create Pluto was not the same intent that they had to create Goofy. Pluto was designed for his own needs to be the pet of Mickey, whereas Goofy was intended to be his own character in his own right, doing his own anthropomorphic things. So why did they not address this? Or, to me, it just seems still kind of weird that Goofy sees Pluto and goes, "Oh, hey, Pluto, how are you?" Does not like, "Hey, I'm a dog. Why can't you talk?" I don't know. So I have my bad impression. So let's try to figure this out together. So some of the Disney animals sort of defy these characteristics of anthropomorphism. One animal that's walking and talking like a human, and another one just being your typical dog. And for instance, you have Lady the Tramp, who to people, we see them barking and acting like dogs, but then when they're by themselves, they create these human characteristics talking. Now that may be just for us as an audience, so we know what the hell they're saying. But at the same time, it's like, how I know my dog Maui, talking to Lilo and Stitch don't, communicate the same way. It's that, well, I mean, obviously animals communicate with each other, but, through that way of showing that they talk like humans by themselves, is kind of breaking that characteristic between the two of them. And you can also see that there's a high level of intelligence between them, whereas if you portray them in front of humans, they don't have that same level of intelligency. Is that a word? It is now. So, like I said, like, for instance, like Lily and Tramp, they have a huge level of intelligence, but when portrayed in front of the humans, that intelligence goes right out the window, and we just pay a blind eye to it. So, my dogs are pretty smart. They know they're pretty smart, but they don't think I know that they know that they're that they don't think that I know that they know that I know that they know that they know that I know that they are smart. Rambling on. So, I really don't have an answer to this. If you have an answer to this and you can help me out, it would be awesome. Comment down below on why Goofy interacting with Pluto. I don't know. It doesn't. Okay. Backtrack a little bit here. I found a few theories online on how this could be possible, because I want to know why with Goofy interacting with Pluto in the same room, why one is a developed anthropomorphic dog and the other one is just a normal dog. Here's a few theories on why that's the case. I don't particularly like all these theories, but let me know what you think of them down below. Comment your own theories down below, and maybe we can solve this problem. Either that, or we just turn a blind eye to it and say, whatever. So, theory 1, evolution. Some say that Goofy has evolved from a dog, while Pluto has failed to for whatever reason. Perhaps Pluto's time as a dog is due to the fact that he has an owner, Mickey, and has been unable to evolve, while Goofy may have never had an owner. That's pretty interesting to think about. I think that, basically Mickey is tying Pluto down and keeping him as a dog, treating him as a dog, and he doesn't have that time to develop. Whereas Goofy maybe in the wild, maybe had to interact with other anthropomorphic creatures, and he was able to evolve. So if Mickey lets Pluto go into the world, and maybe he interacts with other anthropomorphic figures without any restraints of being a pet, he too could evolve. Very interesting theory at that. Theory number 2, Disney animators rule. When Disney animators create anything, they are the ruler of that thing. This suggests that they wanted to showcase their power with the creation, of one talking, walking dog and one that was just a pet. The creation of Goofy forced every Disney fan to question the natural law of things. I mean, that is very true with anything. You know, any cartoon, anything, especially a lot of time what Disney does is they talk about, you know, what what they animate. That's what it is. You know, I talked about another video. I'll put the link up here, and maybe at the end of the video, I'll showcase that video where basically you can animate what you want, and your perception of it is reality. Because I animated it, and now you're watching it, and I'm gonna animate it a certain way, so your mind will tell you, "Oh, that makes sense." But in reality, it's really not. You know, for instance, you know, there's a scene where Mickey runs off a cliff to chase after his hat, and he's running in midair. Stops, grabs his hat, looks down, and then he falls because he was down. But in reality, if you ran off that cliff, you would just run, and you'd fall right away. Instead, with the way we're animating it, you know, you get what I'm saying? It kind of like changes the laws of physics. Animation creates its own laws of physics, and it makes sense. Somehow, it makes sense. Theory number 3, the smart one and the dumb one. Okay, I don't really want to say this because Pluto's not dumb. I wouldn't call him dumb. Goofy's more the dumb one, I would say. I wouldn't say he's smart. I love Goofy. I totally love Goofy. Check this picture out right here. But the theory states, another interesting notion is Goofy because he walks on 2 legs and is clumsy and foolish character, and Pluto is a smart. See, they went with that. Goofy's dumb, and Pluto's smart. Pluto's a smart dog that walks on all 4s like he's supposed to be doing. I don't like that theory too much because then you know, what about Mickey Mouse? We call Mickey Mouse dumb because he walks on 2 legs? Huh? I don't like your theory, dude. Moving on to the next theory. Goofy isn't an animal at all, but he's a dog. Very curious on what this theory talks about. As was the opinion of Carl Barks and the main characters in his story, some of these characters just look like animals but are actually human in their behavior. They represent humanity. This could be the true Goofy being a dog, which is an anthropomorphized version of a dog, while Pluto remains the real dog. Okay, that gets a whole anthropomorph. So all the characters, basically all the animals and stuff that are anthropomorphized, anthropomorphic in Disney are not animals. I mean, I guess you could say that kind of goes along with your theory, whereas the animator creates the rules of physics. I guess you could kind of tie those two together in some kind of way. Sorry for the long rambling and the confusing video, and I'm still confused. But who cares? I still love Disney. I love Goofy. I love Pluto. I love all of them. And I'm just going to turn a blind eye to it and say, screw it. It is what it is. And I like it anyway. So let me know what you think. Comment down below. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. And let me know your thoughts on Pluto and Goofy. Check out this video over here. And check out that playlist over here. Peace.